Good evening. I call to order the July 1st, 2021 organizational meeting of the Kenmore-Town of Tonawanda Union Free School District Board of Education. Please stand for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the first order of business is to administer the oath of office to our newly elected trustee. Todd, if you'd like to stand and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Todd Marquardt, do solemnly swear
I, Todd Marquardt, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
as well as the Constitution of the State of New York,
as well as the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of trustee
and I will faithfully discharge the District Trustee
of the Kenmore-Town of Tonawanda Union Free School District Board of Education
of the Kenmore-Tonawanda Union Free School District Board of Education
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Okay, if your family wants to come up, you can take a picture. Get out of the way. Okay, item 3A is to call for nominations for the office of president for the 2021-2022 school year. Are there any nominations for president?
I nominate Matt Chimera.
Okay, trustee Riegstad has nominated trustee Chimera. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Leslie Battaglia seconded. Trustee Chimera, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Okay, are there any other nominations? Any discussion? Okay, if there's no other nominations or discussion, I call for a vote. All those in favor of trustee Chimera serving as president for the 2021-2022 school year, so signify with aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carried unanimously. Okay, now administer your oath. Okay, raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Matthew Chimera, do solemnly swear
I, Matthew Chimera, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
as well as the Constitution of the State of New York,
as well as the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of president
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of President
of the Kenmore-Town of Tonawanda Union Free School District Board of Education
of the Kenmore-Town of Tonawanda Union Free School District Board of Education,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Okay, and sign. And I will get out of your way. Okay, so everyone else is, you just have them sign as you swear us in.
Okay. Well, thank you. This is, again, is an honor. This has been a great team to work with. And I'd like to thank everybody on the board, as well as Superintendent Samato and the cabinet and the directors for bearing with me through my first year as president. So on to that second year. Special thanks to Gina Santa Maria, our district clerk. I'm sure she cringes when her phone rings and she sees my name because I've had to call her so many times this year and ask so many questions, but she always She always seems to have the right answer, so thank you, Gina. And I also want to, again, thank former Vice President Andrew Gianni. He really was one of my mentors this past year, and I appreciate his 6 years of service on the board and all he did to help me. And we'd like to also welcome our new trustee, Mr. Marquardt, Mr. Todd Marquardt. We look forward to working together. Okay, our next order of business, item 4A on the agenda is the election of a vice president. Do I have any nominations for vice president?
I'd like to nominate Tom Riegstad.
Okay. Do I have a second for that?
Yes.
Okay. Second by Todd. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously. Okay. Dr. Riegstad. Raise your right hand. I, Dr. Thomas Riegstad.
I, Dr. Thomas
Do
Reed,
solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
as well as the Constitution of the State of New York,
as well as the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Vice President
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Vice President
of the Kenmore-Tonawanda Union Free School District Board of Education,
of the Kenmore-Tonawanda Union Free School District Board of Education,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Nate.
You can sign right here. Let's see. President, where are we at? Gina, where's the vice president?
Oh, here.
Oh, okay,
Is
we
Vice
got it.
President?
Yep, we got it.
Okay.
Yep.
And right here?
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay, item 5A is our oath of office for our district clerk, Gina Santa Maria. Would you like to come forward? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Gina Santa Maria, do solemnly swear
I, Gina Santamaria, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
as well as the Constitution of the State of New York,
as well as the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of district clerk
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of District Clerk
of the Kenmore-Tonawanda Union Free School District,
of the Kenmore-Tonawanda Union Free School District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Okay, next we have the swearing in of our district treasurer, Margaret Ruglarski. Sorry. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Margaret Ruglarski,
I, Margaret Woblarski,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
as well as the Constitution of the State of New York,
as well as the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of district treasurer
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the District Treasurer
of the Kenmore-Tonawanda Union Free School District
of the Kenmore-Tonawanda Union Free School District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Okay, on to item 6, roll call. District Clerk, please note that all trustees are present. Item 7A is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
So moved by Leslie,
Second.
second by Jen. Any discussion? There being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously. Item 8 is new business organization resolutions. Are there any requests to withdraw specific items from consensus? Okay, there being none, do I have a motion to approve the consensus agenda? So moved by Tom,
Second.
second by Leslie. Any discussion? There being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously. Okay, item 9A is the approval of the minutes for the regular session. Approval of minutes for June 8th, 2021 regular Board of Education meeting and safety plan public hearing. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved by Leslie,
Second.
second by Jen. Any discussion? Okay, there being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously. And we have the approval of the minutes from the June 23rd, 2021 Board of Education Special Executive Session meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved by Todd. Second by Tom. Any discussion? There being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously. Okay, item 10 is our public comments. Do we have anybody sign? No public comments tonight? So we'll move on to item 11, which is the Erie County Association of School Board membership discussion and approval. This is an action item to approve our membership in the Erie County Association of School Boards. Do I have a motion to approve? So moved by Tom,
Second.
second by Todd. Any discussion? Okay, there being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously. Item 11B is the New York State School Board Association membership discussion and approval. This is an action item to approve our membership in the New York State School Boards Association. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved by Todd,
Second.
second by Jen. Any discussion? Okay, there being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously. Next item is item 11C, the district and the ECASB committee liaison appointments. I want to first thank all of our board members for getting back quickly. What we do is take our committees and we kind of do a draft. Everybody picks a couple committees and we try and work things out and come up with a lead person on each of the committees and then an alternate, and it worked out pretty easily this year, so I want to thank you for that. Do I have a motion to approve the district and ECASB committee liaison appointments?
So moved.
So moved by Leslie. Second by Tom. Any discussion? Okay, there being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously. Item 11D is our Board of Education attendance at the New York State School Boards Association State Conference. This is to approve any school board member that would like to attend the New York State School Boards Conference in October in New York City. Do I have a motion to approve board members in attendance at the NYSBA conference?
So moved.
So moved by Todd,
Second.
second by Jen. Any discussion? There being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously. Item 11E is our Board of Education annual agenda for the 2020-2021 school year. Do I have a motion to approve?
So,
So moved by Tom,
second.
second by Leslie. Any discussion? There being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously. And item 11F is the readoption of the board's Code of Ethics for the 2020-2021 school year. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved by Jen,
Second.
second by Leslie. Any discussion? There being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously. Okay, item 11G is our board reports. I don't know, do we have, you have the audit, right? Sure.
Well, on June 15th, the Audit Committee met. First, two representatives from Drescher and Malecki presented their draft report, risk assessment findings, and recommendations for the fiscal year that ended yesterday. None of their detailed findings in terms of criticality was considered urgent. They focused only on short-term recommendations related to payroll and personnel. They expressed confidence that safeguards for timekeeping and payroll are in place and that the district has been following best practice in using a new parallel payroll testing system through this coming fall. The committee unanimously approved the risk assessment draft report and forwarded it to the Board of Education. I think it's on tonight's docket, I'm not sure. Next, at that meeting, two representatives from Lumsden McCormick shared plans for performing the district audit of last fiscal year. They told us that they will be looking especially at school lunches, the CARES Act, and extra classroom activities in this audit. And last, we welcomed a new committee member, Daniel Tyrone.
Thank you, Doctor. Any other committee reports? I don't think we have any.
There was a Family Support Center
Oh, okay.
meeting on June 11th. And basically, Jan, Sarah updated us about what the summer services will look like at the support center. So families had some options. They could receive support 2 to 3 times over the summer, or some families who needed more intensive services would be referred out to some local agencies. Some families chose to just take the summer off from the support center. They have planned some summer outreach programs for immigrant and refugee families in the district. They're going to be having 3 meetings throughout the summer where families can come to ask questions and request information in an open forum where there will be interpreters available to receive that information in their native language. They will have interpreters for as many as 10 languages, and the topics will include special ed, preschool, and food restrictions and district practices. They're also doing an ENL teacher outreach. Again, they will have that throughout several locations in the district where they will have on-site interpreters available, and those meetings, the purpose there will be to assist parents in filling out parent information packets to get registered for school in the fall. The other topic that came up was what the Family Support Center will look like in the 21-22 school year. They are planning a hybrid clinic for September. They would love to have counseling return to normal face-to-face sessions, but they understand that there may be families who would still prefer to be virtual, so they will plan on doing both formats in the fall. And I think that that was about it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, that brings us to item H, board comments. Want to go?
Do you want me to
You can
start?
go first.
I can start, okay. I just wanted to comment on the fact that President Shamira and I attended the Town of Tonawanda Youth Board annual Outstanding Youth Award ceremony last night. It was at the Kenton Senior Center, and it was outstanding. And even though there was no dinner, which there apparently usually is, but they still put on a really, really nice ceremony for all the kids. What was interesting to me was Tim O'Shea from the Buffalo News spoke, and one of the things that stood out to me about what he spoke about, because all of the students who received awards are probably not that different from all the students in the district, in that they all went through this pandemic together as students, and he talked about how this is something that they will have their whole life to be able to look back to, maybe not thinking about it necessarily in a relatively positive way right now, but eventually they may come around to more positive thinking about it. But he talked about resilience, and that he felt that all of the kids will really, that their resilience has been built up a lot. So that stood out to me a lot. I would like to congratulate the student from Kenmore East, Kenmore West, and from the Kenton Career and Technical Center, Erin Donnellan from Kenmore East, Isabella Fusani from Kenmore West, and James Green from the Kenton Career and Technical Center. The list of things that they were able to do this past year, despite all of the challenges, was just amazing. They gave of themselves in multitudes of ways, and it was really just amazing to hear everything that they were able to do. They also talked about Kenton Cares, and former president Jill O'Malley was received an award for Kenton Cares, and everything that they were able to do for the community throughout the pandemic was just amazing. So a lot of amazing things to just see that were done despite all of the obstacles. So I really enjoyed myself. It was really nice.
Thank you. I have a couple comments. After such a crazy year, I think we're finally to a point where some really positive things are happening. And I know the superintendent's going to talk about the groundbreaking that took place at East, so I'm not going to steal his thunder there. But I did want to take a moment to comment on our graduations this year. Again, after a crazy year at both high schools, both high schools, as well as the Big Picture program, found a way to make graduation special for our graduates this year. All three graduations were beautiful ceremonies where the class of 2021 could all be together and receive their diplomas. The setup at Adams and Crosby Fields for Kenmore East and for Kenmore West ceremonies was really neat to see. And I know Superintendent Samato is going to talk more about what went into making that happen, because it took a lot, but it was well worth it seeing these kids be able to graduate, as I said, as a group. The other thing I wanted to comment on is recently I had the pleasure of attending 2 unified basketball games where Kenmore East played against Kenmore West. If you're not familiar with unified sports, it joins together athletes with intellectual disabilities, as well as athletes that don't have any intellectual disabilities, all on the same team. And it was inspired by the simple principle that training together and playing together is a quick path to friendship and understanding. These teams are made up of people of similar age and ability. About a year and a half ago, I think it was, our Board of Education approved the startup of unified sports here in Kenton. And like many other things, the program was put on hold because of COVID. However, this spring, Mr. Banker was able to get the basketball program off the ground, and both of our high school teams got to play against each other twice. I've been around high school sports for a long time, and I can say that this was one of the coolest things I've ever watched. The excitement, teamwork, sportsmanship that these athletes displayed was just heartwarming. And my favorite part of the game was halftime. It's not like a typical halftime where teams go into the locker room and work on strategy for the second half. No, both teams go out together in the middle of the court, and they get in a nice line and do a good old-fashioned line dance. It's really cool to see. But if anybody wants to watch it, on our website, on the district website, if you go to ktufsd.org and go to the athletics page, it's uploaded. The games are uploaded to the athletics page, so you can actually watch those games. And I believe next year we plan on having basketball again, and I guess we're also going to add bowling. So that'll be neat to see too. But just it was really a positive experience for me anyway. Okay, any other comments?
I was just going to make a couple comments about the graduation ceremonies. Being first year as a board member, I attended the Big Picture and Kenmore West graduations. I wasn't able to make it to Ken East, but at Big Picture, it was such a nice ceremony that because it was so small, and seeing all of the students up on stage and having Matt and the principal make personal comments about each student was just so special. I think that's such a great takeaway for those families and the students. And I think one of my favorite parts of the Kenmore West graduation was the way we were seated as a board. We were sitting on the field, but facing the students, and we were pretty close to that first row of students, and watching the facial expressions of those kids. And when we got to the end of the ceremony and they, moved the tassel over, the joy and excitement on their faces was it was priceless to see. As a parent, I've had 2 kids graduate, and, you're so proud as a parent, but you don't get that experience because you're sitting way in the back. So as a board member, I was so thankful to have been a part of that. And I thought it was a great setup. I'd love to be able to sit that way again, to be able to see those expressions from the students and their little comments to each other as they sat, in the field. So I just wanted to say it was a great experience. So.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I have just one more,
Okay,
and
go
I
ahead.
can't believe you're not going to say it, but as a former Kenmore West softball parent, I just would like to congratulate the girls softball team for making it to sectional finals, and Coach Leggett. It's something been near and dear to my heart for a long time, and I just think it's an awesome testament to their struggle this year, because they did raise an enormous amount of money for a cause for one of the parents who unfortunately succumbed to a disease early before the season started. And I think both their success on the field and their success in raising money is really a testament to how great the team was. So congratulations to the team.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, that brings us to item 12, our superintendent's report.
Thank you very much, President Chimera, and thank you for all of those updates. Before I begin, I just really want to draw attention of our community to our Board of Education, because, ladies and gentlemen, this year was not an easy year. And your dedication, honestly, was second to none. And it's evidenced how innocently you give updates to the community of your involvement in the community. And that I think our community needs to understand the level of dedication that you have, and it's very admirable. Our teachers, our administrators, our staff truly appreciate all of your dedication to all of the hard work this year. So from the entire community, thank you very much as we go into a new year. With that being said, some of the things that we discussed this evening, I just wanted to highlight. I'm going to go quickly. No big presentations tonight, but President Chimera brought up graduation, and I think it's fitting to start there. As we know, commencement is not just an ending, it's a beginning for our students. And wow, what a tremendous beginning it was. 3 months ago, we would never have imagined that we'd be able to pull off what we were able to pull off, and that was only because of all of the hard work and dedication of so many people from the schools and all the teams led by Principal Johnson at West, Principal Hayden at East, and their administrative teams, their teacher teams. Then we had people like our cabinet level, especially Nicole Morosco, the B&G department with Tim Ames, John Willey. Folks, planning a graduation is not a weekend event, and I'm sure you all know that. I feel it necessary to remind our community of what really goes into it. The procedures of making sure that that's done right, and then in a venue that we have never experienced before, outdoors, on our fields, from renting stages and sound equipment to chairs and safety equipment, to having medical staff on hand, to making sure that tickets happen correctly. Those things, and we saw how guidance changed, I think, less than 7 days before graduation again. And, you know, and I highlighted, so I'm not going to be too repetitive, but I highlighted in a weekly connection just the week before graduation how we had to stick with our plan and go with it. We had three. We had an A, B, and a C. Unfortunately, we had to go to a B for Kenmore East, and we had to use their rain date, so both of them were in the same day. Our Board of Education were troopers. They sat on the turf in the blazing sun for up to 2 ceremonies in the same day, and that was not easy on families. It really wasn't, and but it met the purpose and the principle of having the entire class together. Our option C was to move them into the auditorium, and it was just too hot. Our auditoriums are not air conditioned, and it would have been even worse in the fields. The breeze was bad, blowing stuff around, but at least the breeze kept us a little bit cooler. It was a very, very warm day, but everyone worked together. John Willey, let me just give you an example of something that people don't know. This gentleman got those fields set up the night before and then made sure that the fields were secure so that nothing happened to the fields the entire time up to graduation. Himself, living in Kenton himself, also going to the fields, and that's the type of people that we have in Kenton. And it really was just an example of how a community could come together, and those schools really, really did an excellent job. So I just would like to give a public round of applause to everybody that did everything for those graduations. So other exciting news that happened as well. Well, before I get to more exciting news, I hope to give you more information about, I was hoping that even more guidance would come out. I can report to you that I have not received any new guidance yet, not for summer or for next school year. We are very much anticipating that we will receive more information. Maybe it will be late tomorrow, I'm not sure, but I would imagine that we're going to continue to hear more clarity on the upcoming school year. Our goal is always to follow the guidance and always to follow the safety protocols that are in place, but let there be no mistake, our goal for September is to be fully back and as back to normal as we're allowed to be for September. So that includes everything from social distancing and masks, but we'll hear the guidance on that, and we'll keep the community up to date, up to speed. We did reduce the weekly connections that are going out over the summertime, but if any information is released so that the community and the board knows, we will put out a weekly connection absolutely that week in which it's released, and we will have some weekly connections over the summertime as well. The other event that President Chimera referred to was our kickoff that many people attended, many dignitaries were there. At our last board meeting, I gave the prelude to it that we were at Kenmore East to announce the kickoff to our capital project, but while we were at Kenmore East, we also announced the kickoff to something new in Kenton, and thanks to, we had a lot of dignitaries and partners there that day, and it was purposeful. It was purposeful because of how much work that they've done in partnership with us to make sure that we can ensure the capital project moving forward. And folks, schools and our facilities and our programs are the center of all of our communities in Kenton. Kenton is a large community. Kenton is small neighborhoods. God bless you. And it's important to recognize that it is our moral imperative to make sure that we're keeping our schools at the forefront, not just the instructional program, but also the facilities as the center of those communities. And these people, in partnership with Kenton, all the people that you see here, worked diligently over the past year, our community, in voting on that capital improvement project, and it's going to impact our kids and our communities for generations. With that being said, we also announced that our advocates, our representatives in Albany, really worked with various people in Albany to get very needed funding, much needed funding for school districts. One of those increases was in UPK, the UPK grant. The UPK grant more than doubled if we were able to do something more with it. That's really, to put it into a nice, neat package, that's what it boiled down to. So our more with it that we're doing with the UPK grant is that Kelly White, led by our Assistant Superintendent Kelly White and her great team, we came together quickly. Mr. Frank Spagnolo, who's here tonight, also part of the team, Mike Muscarella, really came together very quickly to design together collaboratively how we could really enhance our programming. Folks, here is the mindset. If we could gather students and bring them to the best, which we believe is Kenton, at the youngest age, we have the best chance in keeping them and offering them our tremendous programming throughout their entire pre-K through 12 career. So that starts in pre-K. And right now with our YMCA partnership, we not only moved it to a full day option, but we also are moving it to Hamilton Elementary School and reopening Hamilton as at least our initial phase for our UPK program. Now, with that being said, remember how I started this, the main focus is that the school is the center of the community. And it would be foolish for us to not recognize that the potential that we still have in Hamilton and being the center of that community, whatever form that that may be. With that in mind, another kudos goes back to Ms. Morosco, Tim Ames, John Willey. I want to mention another, the B&G department, especially Georgia Militello. Right away, as soon as we announced that, they've been over at Hamilton every day, cleaning Hamilton out, moving things to new storage facilities, bringing and moving our storage things that's what Hamilton was primarily being used for, as a storage facility for the district. And I'm happy to say we are very close to having all of those rooms already within 3 weeks emptied out, ready for cleaning. Our goal was by August 1st, and they are on track. Frank was just sharing with me the other day that our full-time registrations are well over 200 at this time, which is I'm sorry, Frank, give me, our total registrations are over 200. Our full-time are, what was the number again, Frank? 118 full-time, 218, something like that total. So that we have at this time in July, because a lot of things happen throughout the month of July as parents register more, we're way ahead of the game. So it is absolutely a tremendous service to our communities. Our community folks, families are coming out of a pandemic. And previously in UPK, we had a half-day program. And this isn't to the YMCA chagrin, this is just how things work. We were offering a half day. They would have to get coverage if they needed their child covered for the rest of the day, which they would have to pay for the other part of the half day, and whatever would have to happen. By having a full day, it is absolutely not only helping our families with great academics and great collaboration with the district financially coming out of a pandemic, it is an assistance to our families. So we have to continuously look in Kenton how we can do this, and these people will not, the people that I mentioned, will not rest until this is done well, because that's not because I'm directing that, because that's the type of people they are. So John, Nicole, Tim, Georgia, and the whole B&G crew really are just doing a fantastic job. It's an exciting time in Kenton. It's an exciting time. We talked about that day, how we have, and to no one's fault, it's the finances that were in the past. We have a different financial outlook for the future, and Kenton is growing. And I think it's important that we focus on that, and then we'll continue to evaluate what we can and what we can't do. But it does open up options for the future. And to have an optimistic future and come out of a pandemic with a roar, the cabinet laughs at me. I say, like, we're shot out of a cannon. That's what we're looking to do coming out of this pandemic. So we'll fasten our seatbelts. We'll have a great summer of organization, and we're going to hit 2021, 2022 really moving. With that being said, I'll finish tonight with, we discussed structure last time to support all of our new initiatives and where we're going as a district. And I'm proud to say that our new assistant superintendent student services that we introduced just over a month ago by the leadership of Assistant Superintendent Richards, we really got to move on that hiring process. It's important to get the pieces in place and get the team together. And tonight you will be approving later on. I'll ask Tracy Spagnolo to please stand up. Let's welcome Tracy first of all. Tracy previously was in Kenton. When she officially begins and starts, we'll have her just give everyone a rundown of her history, but previously in Kenton, comes to us from West Seneca currently, and she's a tremendous add to the team. Went through a very rigorous interview process. The competition was tight, and Tracy really persevered at the end, and she is going to be the key to bringing us forward, one of the keys to bringing us forward in our new structure. So welcome, Tracy. Welcome back to Kenton and part of the family again. So thank you very much for being here. And with that, that concludes my update, President Chimera. We do have a couple memorandums of agreement that are on under my update. I'll turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Richards to give us a rundown on those.
Good evening. I'm going to begin with the first one. There's 5 for your approval tonight. The KAA memo. The KAA MOA is with the Administrative Union. It's the revision of the recognition clause. This really is part of the district's restructuring plan. The KAA has actually agreed to release from the KAA the titles of Director and Assistant Director of Physical Education, Health, and Athletics. Those positions will become non-rep. Superintendent Samato, I ask that you recommend this memorandum of agreement to the board for their approval.
Thank you very much, Assistant Superintendent Richards. And President Chimera, I do recommend this agreement with the KAA, the revision of the recognition clause, for action.
Do I have a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement between the district and the KAA for revision of recognition clause?
So moved.
So moved by Jen.
Second.
Second by Leslie. Any discussion? Okay, there being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. The second is a KTSEA MOA regarding temporary work. Last fall, we proposed this. It was part of really it's about assigning temporary work and having permanent standbys in. And The district and the association will be reviewing this one more time upon your approval through the Transportation Committee, so they'll do it collaboratively to see how this is working throughout the summer. It's really the purpose is to extend it beyond the sunset of yesterday's expiration date. We'd like to extend it through the summer. So Superintendent Samato, I ask that you recommend this memorandum of agreement to the board for their approval.
Thank you very much, Assistant Superintendent Richards. And President Chimera, I do recommend that this memorandum of agreement with the KTSEA Transportation Department temporary work for action from the board.
Do I have a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement between the district and the KTSEA? So moved by Tom.
Second.
Second by Leslie. Any discussion? There being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. The second KTSEA MOA is regarding hiring and referral incentives. We petitioned the board last year to agree to an MOA in the fall again to incentivize the hiring for transportation and food service. It seems to be fairly successful, and both sides mutually agreed to request approval for an extension. Superintendent Samato, I ask that you recommend this memorandum of agreement to the board for their approval.
Thank you, Assistant Superintendent Richards. And President Chimera, I do recommend the memorandum of agreement with the KTSEA hiring and referral incentive as an action item to the board.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement between the district and the KTSEA hiring and referral incentive?
So moved.
So moved by Todd. Second by Tom. Any discussion? There being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. Tonight, for your consideration, I present an MOA between the district and the KTA that seeks to add 2 special area coordinators to the KTA contract in the areas of technology and business. This will promote improved coordination and communication between these departments and enhance their restructuring. Superintendent Samato, I ask that you recommend this memorandum of agreement to the board for their approval.
Thank you, Assistant Superintendent Richards. And President Chimera, I recommend the memorandum of agreement with the KTA special area coordinators for an action by the board.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement between the district and the KTA special area coordinators?
So moved.
So moved by Jen.
Second.
Second by Todd. Any discussion? There being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously.
And finally, a KTA MOA regarding summer school pay for elementary teachers. Tonight, for your consideration, I present an MOA between the district and the KTA that seeks to make the hourly pay rate for summer school work for elementary teachers equitable to secondary teachers. Superintendent Samato, I ask that you recommend this memorandum of agreement to the board for their approval.
Thank you very much, Assistant Superintendent Richards. And President Chimera, I recommend to the board the memorandum of agreement with the KTA to change in summer elementary reading teacher pay as an action item for approval by the board.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement between the district and the KTA to change in summer school elementary reading teacher pay? So moved by Tom.
Second.
Second by Leslie. Any discussion? There being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously.
And thank you very much, President Chimera. That concludes my report. I will now turn it over to Assistant Superintendent White for her report.
Thank you, Superintendent Samato. Good evening. I have 2 updates tonight. One is the scholarship report. So I'm happy to share that we were able to offer scholarships to our students in the amount that's pretty well equivalent. It's actually $200,000 more than we gave in 2019, which is excellent. Another update for you is the Comprehensive School Counseling Plan Advisory Update. So you have a copy of that report, links to all of the meeting minutes, so you can take a look at the work. That team takes a look at our school counseling plan, reviews our curriculum, our opportunities for students to support them. We'll continue that work throughout next year. Finally, I have a number of items on the consensus agenda, pretty much all contracts. Were there any questions on any of those items? If there are no questions, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Assistant Superintendent White. And President Chimera, I now turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Marasco for her report.
Thank you, Superintendent Samato. So the first item I have for your action is the approval of the internal audit report. As Dr. Riegstad discussed in the committee updates, there was a June 15th audit committee, and the group approved the report and corrective action plan. Does anyone have any questions on that item? If not, then Superintendent Samato, I ask that you recommend this report and corrective action plan to the board for their approval.
Thank you very much, Assistant Superintendent Marasco. And President Chimera, I do recommend for the board approval to take action on the internal audit approval.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the internal audit?
So moved.
So moved by Leslie. Second by Tom. Any discussion? Okay, there being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor, so signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously.
The next item I have is several annual contracts in the consensus agenda. Does anyone have any questions on those contracts? Okay, thank you. Finally, my department reports are included in your packet for review. No verbal report will be given on those, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Assistant Superintendent Marasco. And President Chimera, I now turn it over to Mr. Richards, Assistant Superintendent Richards, for his report.
Thank you, Superintendent Samato. For my executive summary, I have a couple of points. One on the personnel docket. Thankfully, District Clerk Santa Maria identified an area in which I found a typo. There is on the personnel docket one small typo regarding in the extracurricular activities where Jill Mattia is being recommended for the wrong school year. It should read 2021, 2022, if we can just note that edit. There's no substantive change otherwise. Just want to point that out, and thank you, Santa Maria. Quick staffing update. We have only 2 out of 33 positions left for probation left to fill, so we had a very busy last couple of weeks, including the committees. Thank you again to the committees. I say that every single meeting because of how laborious it is, especially at this time of year. Superintendent Samato did an excellent job of introducing Tracy Spagnuolo as our next and new assistant superintendent, so congratulations. Welcome back. Also for tonight on your approval on the consent agenda, we present for your approval Bree Knight to be assistant principal at Lindbergh Elementary. Ms. Knight's taught special education in Tonawanda City Schools for the past 20 years and most recently served as a TOSA in the special ed department. And we're happy to have her upgrade to Kenton. A special thanks really has to go out to Jim Dunnigan and Fran Paskowitz for their service this year during the pandemic. For them to step in various roles in administrative support has been really, really vital to our success this year, so I want to personally recognize both of them. I do have one resolution for your approval tonight. Attached are 3 amended employment agreements for your approval. 2 are salary adjustments and 1's an amendment for compensation for otherwise atypical duties. And so Superintendent Samato, I ask that you recommend that resolution for approval, recommend to the board their resolution for approval.
Thank you very much, Assistant Superintendent Richards. So President Chimera, I do recommend to the board to approve the amendment of the employee agreements as an action item.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the amendment of employee agreements?
So moved.
So moved by Todd.
Second.
Second by Jen. Any discussion? There being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously.
I also, to finalize, I also had a couple of other items on the consent agenda, most of which are contracts. If there are any questions on those, I'm happy to field them. If not, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Assistant Superintendent Richards and board members. Next week, also, since we are in the summer months and less weekly updates, I will be forwarding to you more information about Tracy, since it was such a quick, fast hire, and that way you can read up on more information about her as well. So you can expect that in an email format next week. And with that, now, President Chimera, I recommend the consensus agenda for the board's approval.
Okay, do we have any requests to remove any specific items from consensus? Okay, there being none, do I have a motion to approve the consensus agenda? So moved by Tom,
Second.
second by Todd. Any discussion? Okay, there being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously. Item 17 is our tenure acknowledgements. I don't think we have any tonight, right? So we'll move on to our, next our moment of silence for those in the Kenton community who have passed away. Let's take a moment to honor Janet Meng Carver, the mother of District Carpenter Russell Carver, and the mother-in-law of Edison Elementary teacher Lisa Carver. Thank you. Okay, moving on to other matters. Item 19. Anybody else have any other matters to bring up? I did want to discuss a date and format for our annual summer Board of Education retreat. So if we can look at our calendars, last year we did it on August 3rd. So I don't know that it has to be right at the beginning of August, but I think sometime in August would be a good thing if we can come up with a date.
The only week that I'm not available is the week of the 21st through the 28th, but other than that, I'm
Okay.
good for any days.
Anybody?
I'm not available the week of the 16th. I'll be away that week.
Okay, so basically from the 16th to the 28th are off limits so far. Anybody else have blocks of time that
The first week of August, good?
could be? First week good, or we do have the law conference on the 10th and the 12th of August. I don't know, I don't know how many people are doing that, but since we're doing those 2 days, maybe a day that week, so it's get it all done in 1 week thing, or the other way to look at it is it's too much in 1 week. What do you think?
I'm okay with that week. That's fine with me.
Wanna shoot for the 9th or the 11th then?
That's good with me.
Which is better? 9th?
9th?
Okay, so let's shoot for Monday, August 9th, and we'll work on an agenda, but we'll look at a full day retreat on Monday, August 9th. Thank you, that was pretty easy. See, this group's great to work with. The only other thing I wanted to mention is this year is the 25th annual Kenmore East, Kenmore West Hall of Fame Golf Tournament. It takes place on July 14th at Sheridan Park, and this is a great event that was started by our athletic director, Brett Banker, 25 years ago. And last year was supposed to be the 25th, but it was canceled due to COVID. I know Trustee Battaglia has spent many years working as a volunteer at that tournament. And once again, the tournament is a sellout. It's actually oversold, I learned today. And as in the case every year, there will be alumni coming in town from all over the country. It's really a neat event. But Mr. Banker asked me to extend an invitation to the board to stop by for the post-tournament dinner. That dinner takes place at the NOCO Pavilion. It's usually around, would you say, between 3:30 and 4 o'clock by the time everybody's done golfing. And it's going to be a little bit different this year. They're offering the ability to sit down and have dinner, but they're also offering a takeout option for those that aren't comfortable being in a crowd. So we'll see how that plays out. But if anybody's available and wants to stop by, Mr. Banker would love to see you. Over the past 24 years, I spoke with him today. He estimates that we've raised over $150,000 in scholarship and other prize money that's been awarded to Kenmore East and Kenmore West athletes. So it's certainly a worthwhile event. It really is, it's really great. The 14th. It's a Wednesday. July 14th.
I'll just add really quickly, even though they weren't able to hold it last year, a number of the sponsors and people who had intended on going actually allowed the Treasury to keep their money as donations so that we could keep the Treasury pretty stable to be able to do scholarships both last year and this year. So the scholarships this year, Mr. Banker is waiting for the late spring season to end, to talk to the coaches to determine which scholarships will be put out, will be offered to students, or be awarded to students. And it was really just super nice of all of the people who were willing to just donate their, and not be able to play golf last year, but it is a really fun event. I don't play golf though, so I just do sit on a hole and do the skins. I don't know. I just get to watch. So.
Well, thank you. Anybody else? Anything else?
President Chimera, just one more comment that I forgot to let the board know about. Special acknowledgement for Mr. Patrick Finelli, who always does so much with our media. Tomorrow he'll be releasing to the community. We talked about graduation, just pictures and video of the events. The video is up on our website from both of those events. They were live streamed, but he's putting some special picture montages together, and we'll share them with the community tomorrow.
Great.
I just have a quick question. Next week, the 6th, is an event at Hamilton, correct, for families?
Yes, actually, we have that's a great point, that we put out. It's and we're cooking some hot dogs and having people out there, so that is already next week. Holy smokes, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trustee Pataglia.
3 to 6, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay, there's no need for an executive session, so do I have a motion to adjourn? So moved by Todd. Second by Todd. Any discussion? There being none, I call for a vote. All those in favor so signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously, and we are adjourned.